All right. Choose it, use it. Yeah, if you're going to choose what you choose, you might as well use it. Use the power that you have of choice and make something fantastic happen in your life. That's what we're talking about today. And it's so interesting. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's making choices all the time. Ernest Holmes tells us that we cannot lead a choiceless life. But what puzzles me is the way we sometimes use our choices. You know, like the knee-jerk reaction, responding from the gut feeling, taking these quick judgments that we make. And boy, I was really present when you get around your talk and it just starts percolating with you. And I was looking at all the choices that I make, and also the choices I make in terms of how I see the world, the fishbowl that I live in, the mental fishbowl that I live in, and how it defines the kind of changes that I make and the judgments that I make, you know. And some of the stuff and the choices other people make too. It was this week I noticed I was walking to get in a line, and there was someone that was walking at about the same pace I was approaching the checkout counter, but they decided they needed to be there before me, and so they started walking a little bit faster. I had some serious, like, what's up with that? You know, just say I gotta go. Interesting thing. Ooh, tangent. So they did this. Haven't had one of those in a while. By the way, I don't have to keep 2 tangents, but we don't have a candle on it. Okay, somebody get industrious and bring a candle to that, because that should be there. Okay, that's the monkism coming out in me. So I'm back to the other tangent. They did this study at a bank line, and they had the person walk up and say, "Can I get in front of you?" And like 60% of the people said, "Yes, you can get in front of me." Then the person went to another bank line and said, "Can I get in front of you because I need to get to an appointment and I don't have enough time?" 80% of the people let him get in front of them. Third time, "Can I get in front of you because?" Nothing else. 80% of the people. We will give people a break if you give us a reason. And the reason can simply be because. You don't have a whole, try it out. See what I need to get in front of you because, and they'll probably go, "Yeah, sure, go ahead," before you even get to it. Anyway. The other one I had this week, this is my big choice to lose it. My choice to lose it on. People that honk their horn at the traffic signal. Like green. It just turned green, dude, chill. And the double one that gets me is the person who doesn't have honking rights. Do you know about this? Yeah. See, if you're right, like if I'm the one at the traffic light and I sleep it, you can honk at me because you're right behind me. But if you're behind the person that's behind me, you do not get to honk at me. You have lost your honking rights. You're two cars back. What the heck is that all about, you know? But what I want to talk about is the choices that we make and how we can move from the reactive, "you can't honk at me" choice to the responsive choice. Maybe they're really in a hurry. Maybe I did sleep the light, you know? How do we get to that space, moving beyond the knee-jerk reaction? One of them is something I don't do enough when I'm talking. Take a breath. Just take a breath. And in that taking of a breath, we can do what Malcolm Gladwell talks about in his book, Blink. He has this wonderful phrase that I love. He talks about this concept, unaltered consciousness. He says, "We don't know where our first impressions come from or precisely what they mean, so we won't always appreciate their fragility." Now check out what he's saying here. It may be a little bit missing, but I'll add in the details. See, my first thought may not be a God thought, but my second thought always is. I don't know where that first thought comes from, but I'm here to tell you, I actually do know where it comes from. It comes from the mental fishbowl that I live in. It comes from the space of all the experiences of my life that have defined how I see the world, the box that I contain the world in, you see. And that box is so solid, that water is so clear for me. I drink it so regularly, it's better than Kool-Aid. It's refreshing. I drink it all the time, my mental picture of the world, such that I don't question it, you see. But if I just take that breath I talked about, just take a quick second to think before I respond or choose my next response, I can break it. It's very fragile. But it takes consciousness to break it. It takes the ability to stop and take that breath and realize that I don't have to have a knee-jerk reaction. I don't have to shoot from the hip. I don't have to act from my gut, although my gut's a pretty good feeler for what's going on. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying maybe I can have a more responsive, more loving, ooh, aren't you cute kind of a response to what someone does if I can take that little break. I can make an intelligent choice. I can use what Ernest Holmes calls intelligent creation. See, he says that feeling organized and directed leads to intelligent choices, to intelligent creation. The universe looks at all the things that it's feeling, and then it uses its intelligence to self-organize into the manifestations of our lives. But that doesn't happen by accident. That happens on purpose. How often are we making choices on purpose instead of making choices from our fishbowl, from our box that we live in, that we've been predefined over so much time? See, if you want to step into that space of infinite possibilities, and we live in a quantum world of infinite possibilities, you don't believe me, come to Paulette's class on Tuesday, and she will show you what infinite possibilities can do for your brain. Blow it right up. But if you're not living there, you're not expressing your fullest freedom. See, there's no freedom in living in an either-or choice kind of world. But if we're living in our box that predefines how we're going to make a decision, we're pretty much living in an either-or world. I don't want it. I'm done with that. I wanted something more. You see, because choice, the greatest choice, is how we feel about the choices that we make. The greatest choice we make is how we feel about the choices that we make. How do you feel about the choices that you make? Do you have to do a 10th step at the end of every day because of the choice you made? You know the 10th step? Making amends. Do you have to tell somebody, I'm sorry, how can I make it up to you? Because of a choice that you made from a reactive space as opposed to a responsive space. I got that down. I mean, I got a 10th step on a card to just fill out the details because it's just... But if you can get to the higher ground of choosing, if you can get to that divine space within you that we travel into when we go into the gap meditation, when you get to that space, you're now opening yourself up to the infinite possibilities. You're now opening yourself up to making choices that are bigger than the box that you regularly live in. And Ernest Holmes loved to read about everybody that had anything to say about our lives. And some of the stuff he came up with was so wonderful. He says, the great mystics have all agreed that life is ours to do with as we choose, but that when we turn to the one, we will always receive inspiration from on high. So if we could take that time and remember that we are divine emanations of spirit, that there is a power and a wisdom within each and every one of us. See, that's how we come here every week. I want to remind you of this. I want to remind you of the power that is available to everything that you do in your life. Everything you do in your life. But we must turn to that power and recognize it. And simply, just real quickly, even if it's just thank you, and something will flow. If you feel some kind of anxiety, if something's not sitting right with something you're about to do, just stop for a minute and think about the choice and how you want to feel about the choice. And as you move into that space, something will inform you. It'll come from a higher spirit, a higher ground, will drop into you, and you will make an intelligent decision. It happens to me all the time, as long as I just stop for a minute. But if I'm just running around, rolling through the stop sign, rolling through the stop sign, what a great metaphor. If I just roll through the stop sign, I'm not opening myself up to the best possible opportunities for me to miss getting that traffic ticket. You roll through the stop sign, you don't even see the guy that's parked in the bushes that runs out with the little motorcycle cop and go, excuse me, I'm not selling tickets to the ball. Here's yours. And life is like that. Life is like that. We just roll through all these opportunities to make great choices in our lives and end up getting a ticket. So if you want to work for the capital C of choosing, Dr. Holmes has got it down. He says, here's the capital C of choosing. He says, you choose with love, and then you choose with love again. He says, what is the most loving thing I can choose to do in this moment? And sometimes the most loving thing you can choose to do in a certain moment will be say no. That's a loving thing to do sometimes. The loving thing you do in some moment may be something that's not going to make the other person necessarily feel happy on the first go round. But that's okay too, because there could be no mistakes in the divine plan. In the divine plan for things, there are no mistakes when we live with an infinite intelligence. It may feel like a mistake at the time, but that's after the time, but not at the time. At the time, it's probably the best thing you could think to do. I mean, I think about that all the time with prisons. You know, I was watching Orange is the New Black the other day, and I was thinking about all those people that thought what they did was the right thing at the right time. It felt good at that time. But then later they found us something else, right? See, we need to really start to question our first impressions of things. And when we begin to question our first impressions about things, we can break the mental construct that we're living under. Not to say that it's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's gotten us all to the point that we are right now. But I'm really inviting you to think that the mental construct in which we all live, our mental pattern, our mental fishbowl, can be bigger. We were talking in the office a couple weeks ago about Oscars. Apparently Bob used to keep, Susan's Bob used to keep Oscars. And she was saying, I loved him, but he had to feed him those live goldfish. Ugh. And I was telling her how, Oscars will grow to be as big as the tank that they're in. That's kind of how we live our lives, too. Our consciousness will grow to be as big as the container in which we hold it. Dr. Holmes talks about that all the time. You want a bigger life, enlarge your mental equivalence, enlarge your consciousness of what you can receive. And that goes with the choices that you make. Enlarge the parameters from which you make the decisions in your life, and you will see a bigger experience of life. This wonderful lady that I just recently became acquainted with, Scott Cloud Lee. Do you know who she is? Scott Cloud Lee? She's like this really great philosopher, transformational, inspirational speaker. And her claim to fame was she starred on Survivor. When I saw that, I was like, oh, this was a great quote, but she was on Survivor? See? Right? So I blew that box up and I put her on here for us today. When we acknowledge that all of life is sacred and that each act is an act of choice and therefore sacred, then life is a sacred dance lived consciously each moment. But it requires recognizing that everything we do is sacred. If there's one life, as Johanna said in her prayer earlier, one life, that life is God's life, then everything we do in life is a sacred experience. How often do we consciously recognize it is that sacred experience and act from that space? So this week, the invitation is to remember this and to act from a sacred space and know that because you are acting from a sacred space, you're not in a position to make any mistakes. Now, some of the things we may do may lead to some hard lessons along the way. We will have to suffer the consequences of the choices that we make, but even those consequences get us to the next level. You know, the lady that did the Spanx, you know the story of the Spanx lady, right? That she grew up in a family where every day at dinner, her dad would say to her and her sisters and brothers, what did you fail at today? Wow. Isn't it interesting? What did you fail at today? And his point was a couple things. One, if you weren't failing at something, you weren't trying new things. And if you failed at something and recognized it, now you got that out of the way, next. You see? How do we live in that sacred moment and understand that the choices, because they are sacred, are not going to lead us down the rabbit hole. In fact, they're going to lead us back out of the rabbit hole into something really great and fantastic with our lives. So I bring this concept of intelligent choices and graceful choosing as well. Graceful choosing comes from being still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. I'm saying that for each and every one of you. I want it to run through your mind in the first person. Be still and know that I am God. Not me, you. I am God. There's a power in that. There's a connection to that divine emanation, that divine wisdom within you. When you say those words, we're not talking about arrogant, crazy behavior where you're standing on the street corner with a megaphone. I'm not talking about that kind of I am God. I'm talking about the kind of I am God that taps into an infinite wisdom, that taps into infinite possibilities, that lets you move into conscious choices from a higher plane of understanding. See, experience is really what you get when you think you've made a mistake. You think you made a mistake? It's a learning experience. Do you want to let yourself get beat up by that or allow it to lift you up? Let it lift you up. Teddy Roosevelt says we only make 3 choices in life. We have 3 opportunities to make a choice. He says, the best choice is the right choice, the next choice is the worst choice, and the worst choice is no choice. I love that. And the thing about the worst being no choice is that is a choice, but it's a choice to allow your life to be lived by the law of averages. And I don't see any average anybody in this room. If you're letting your life live by the law of averages, go for it. And what's really interesting is when you go for it, you don't have to have that many quote unquote successes to be great. I mean, look at all the great hitters of all time, like the Ty Cobbs and all those kind of Mickey Mantles and pitchers and stuff. Their batting averages are like 400 and 300. That means they only hit 3 out of every 10 times. That's pretty good. We can try a lot and fail a lot and still be very successful because we get a lot of learning opportunities for the mistakes that we make in our life. And so honor the choices that you make. Honor the choices that you make and honor the sacred nature that comes from the choices that you make so that you can move into this space of learning, of lifting yourself up by every opportunity that comes into your life. I was just at a minister's conference this week, and I had the pleasure of rooming with Reverend Jeff Anderson at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. What a sweet soul. You should be his friend on Facebook. He friends everybody. He's on there all the time. He's almost on as much as Jim. I know. It's crazy. But I was his roommate. I saw it. He was like, all the time. He says, we are at choice always as to where we focus our thought, where we place the majority of our attention. So it's very important to think about in the choices that we make. Going back to the very beginning of this talk and the reactive choices that we make, a lot of that is coming from the majority of where our attention is focused. Where are you placing most of your attention? And if your life's not out picturing as you'd like, if my life's not out picturing, when it's not out picturing as I want it to, I start looking at where I'm placing most of my attention. And if most of my attention is being placed on lack and sadness and disappointment, I keep tending to get more lack, sadness, and disappointment. When I start focusing my life on possibility, joy, love, and expression, I start to get more possibility, love, joy, and expression. Johanna and I were walking back from the Ralphs a couple days ago. I think I told you this last week. And I was picking up money off the street. I picked up a penny, and the guy at the bus stop came over to us and said, "Oh, I saw you picking up pennies. Here's 5 more." I was like, yay, abundance, ka-ching, you know? You may be laughing, but now I had 6 cents. That's 1 candy Zot. Cherry flavored. That stuff is so good. It's all sugar. They put sugar inside, foams up in your mouth. It's really great. Good candy. It's not disgusting.
Did I say that out loud?
That was your out loud voice. See what I have to put up with Reverend Betsy when you're not here to hold Michelle down? Reverend Betsy's at home watching with Elaine. So where do you place the majority of your attention? Where are you? And once you figure that out, okay, Peanut Gallery, chill. Once you figure that out, then we're ready, okay? So we've broken the box. We've got some ideas on how we're making choices. Now we're ready to start using the choices that we make, you see. We're ready to jump into responsible choosing because choice, you see, choice and the choices that you make reveal your uniqueness, your unique individualized nature. Where none of us are going to make the same choices, particularly when we start to embody these ideas around choice and open ourselves up to being informed from higher consciousness around the kind of things that are going to happen down here on the physical plane. And so if we can do that and get in alignment with that, get atonement, get at one-ment with that, then we begin to outpicture our unique selves, our very special selves, and we bring something to everybody here on the planet. Dr. Holmes says, there is an invisible presence hidden within us, which has its source in a higher power and which acts through our actions and wills through our minds and reveals itself in what we are doing. How are you going to let Spirit reveal itself through you? What choices are you going to make this week? How are you going to give your gift to the world? I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to offer something easy. You do not have to go out and create the next Facebook this week. But I want somebody here in the center to do that because we want to have our own building one day. And when you create the new Facebook, you will write a check for $3 million because you're going to sell your business for $6 billion. Right? And then we're going to have our new building. So get busy, but not this week. And so it is. This week, just do something really simple like behold beauty in everything that you see. Recognize beauty. You could even do it on the 405 in rush hour traffic when you see a flower growing up in the crack in the highway. There's beauty. Behold beauty somewhere this week. Or practice some unreciprocated kindness. Not the kind of kindness where you have to come back and get everybody, oh, that was really great. Not that. The one that nobody's going to know about. You know, when you throw a quarter down on the sidewalk and don't know who's going to pick it up. Or just pay somebody's lunch in the drive-through line. You know, you're gone. They can't thank you. Just, you'll figure it out. It'll come to you. It'll come to you. Bring that out in your world this week. I ran across another thing, a woman named Gretchen Rubin. Are you familiar with Gretchen Rubin? She wrote a book called The Happiness Project. It was a bestseller for a long time. The Happiness Project, she spent 365 days focusing on what made her happy. And from that, she created the Happiness Project vision statement. And it says, hold on, I want to make sure I don't miss any part of it. Plus, I got glasses to match my shirt today. I'm practicing for Zoolander. Pain. Pleasure. Rage. The Happiness Project vision statement. It is because the world is so full of suffering that your happiness is a gift. It is because the world is so full of poverty that your wealth is a gift. It is because the world is so unfriendly that your smile is a gift. It is because the world is so full of war that your peace of mind is a gift. It is because the world is in such despair that your hope and optimism is a gift. It is because the world is so afraid that your love is a gift. And it is because the world is so in need that your purpose is a gift. Choose it, use it, so it is. Okay. Okay, get it? Let's do it again. Let it dive down a little bit deeper. And I want to remind you, I want to see this places. Post it, tweet it, text it, share it, repeat it. Let's repeat it right now together. I am an instrument for divine good in the world, and I make inspired choices. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All righty. Yes, it is prayer time. I want to thank all of you for allowing us the opportunity on the prayer team, the practitioners and staff ministers, allowing us and blessing us with your confidence, with your faith in our faith in you by putting your prayers in the prayer box. Every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, our practitioners gather there behind the black glass. Behind the, looks like a bank teller window that's turned off. They go back there and they're supposed to be praying, but we can't see. But I have faith that that's what they're doing, so I snuck in there last week, and you know what? They were. But put your prayers in the box. Or see one of the practitioners after service, and we'll line them up here, and then you can shoot them with a prayer. So in this moment, let me share a prayer with each and every one of us. So I recognize the divine presence, that great somethingness that is a great no thing appearing as everything. And in this conscious awareness of the presence and the power of the sweet Spirit divine, I feel a download of its wisdom, its grace, its loving space, filling my heart and soul, coming from the quiet places and the deep recesses of my being, allowing me to be the voice for each and every one of you here today. So the words that I speak are the words that are flowing from you through this one mind, and I am simply the vessel and the receiver of the gracious intentions on the hearts of each and every one of you today. So as I speak this truth, I know it is not just my truth, but it is our truth. That the one life that expresses as each and every one of us is a life of love and self-givingness, of its infinite wisdom, infinite substance, and infinite supply, giving to us by its very nature all that we need for the most joyous experience of life on every second of every day that we walk in this sacred place. Feeling enthused with the confidence and the conviction of a law that knows only to say yes and has no ability. It does not have a mental box. It lives outside the box. It creates the box for our lives with every intention that we set. So I know now that we draw the largest definition around our lives. We outline the biggest picture. We discern the most loving experience, the most rich and rewarding activities of life and expression of this divine presence. Feeling grateful at the grace that we receive, feeling joyous at the good in our lives, knowing that the pathways that are crooked are straightened by this word, knowing that more peace arises in our everyday experience. I feel the blessing for us right now. I feel us claiming the victory and walking forth into the bright light of spirit, smiling all the way, hearts filled with love. If you feel it with me now and are so ready to affirm this truth and release it into the law, join me as I say, and so it is.